Well, we're pleased to be joined tonight by a fellow Smet Jesuit alum of Nick and I, and former member of the Canmore Eagles of the AJHL, and a current member of the Lindenwood men's ice hockey team, Tyler Loughman. Tyler, welcome to the show, my man.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm looking forward to it. So thank you guys.
Well, we're a pleasure to have you. So we wanted to lead off here. We talked about the Smet alum connection briefly there, but we want to rewind the clocks back just a little bit early on into your early junior days. And I think not even just talking about the Smet, but also with your AAA saga too. But talk a little bit about that experience, because I know the balance with balancing the Smet hockey and balancing AAA at the same time is hard, and not a lot of people in other states get to experience that life. So how did you balance that, man? Because it seemed like that's just such a grueling schedule that you guys have to go through.
Yeah, it for sure was. Like, obviously we traveled almost every weekend. So like we were gone all the time, almost every weekend we were on the road. And obviously like the Smet and AAA, it's a big difference. Whereas AAA is, for a lot of us guys, it's like your main focus, right? Because that's how you want to move on to the next level. But at the same time, we all loved the aspect of high school hockey, right? That was what I loved. Like going to be able to play in front of you guys at like the Smet and the fans and everything like that was awesome. But it was tough to juggle because I think obviously you wanted to put so much time to AAA, and traveling and missing all these big weekends while guys are at home and having to play high school hockey was tough because we all enjoyed that so much. But for me, yeah, I mean, having to find that in between balance of staying on top of AAA and high school, it was tough, but it was worth it. Like being able to play high school too on top of the AAA was awesome.
Yeah,
Tyler, I have a question, Luke, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
for the boys that are on the team that aren't playing AAA,
yeah,
what is their reaction when you guys are like, we're out tonight, we got slew, we can't play? Like, are they like, man, what do we do tonight? Like, what are we supposed to do without you guys?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's tough. Like, because you see that we'd have weekends where, because we had a lot of guys from Carshield and AAA and the Blues. So, right. So, like, sometimes you'd have weekends when one of us were gone. Other times we'd both be gone. We were both gone. It's like, oh, shoot. Like, this is going to be tough, right? Especially when it's like, if you're playing like a slew or like the CBCs, and usually, hopefully, some of their guys are gone too. So, it's like, it's like they get to play against each other, just the guys that just play high school. But for a lot of guys, sometimes if we were all gone, it's like, the other guys have to step up, right? Like we had some seniors that didn't play AAA, but they found ways to step up in big moments, and I think that's really what it came from. Was those guys that solely played club or high school hockey stepped up in big moments, and it really showed. So
yeah. It is interesting. I remember my year we had Trent Frederick, who was played his freshman and sophomore year at the Smet. And he was constantly like, in and out of the lineup.
Right.
And whenever we play like CBC, it was exactly what you said, though. If Trent's gone, that means all of CBC and SLU guys.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Too, but
yeah, it was a different era of Smet hockey then, because I know.
Oh yeah.
Because now the last 3 years they've gotten the Challenge Cup. So, and I know Josh has been a part of the last two teams. Was he part of the first one too?
He's a part of the last two. He's got 2 rings now, so he's got 2 more than I do. But he's had that. He was part of the last 2, and they just made an unbelievable run with the last 3. So it's been awesome to watch, and proud to be a part of the alumni of it. So
yeah, I think shifting gears a little bit to that. I think this is when obviously we have the Smet bias, but I think more importantly the audience would more like to hear sort of your little bit of a junior career outside of that. And I think your time in Canmore, and am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Right, good. So for our audience purposes, like Canmore, small mountain town of 16,000 people in Alberta, Canada. Yeah. And so crazy in itself that you decided to play there. So I think your feelings going into that, describe that, and just how you didn't know probably at all what this town was like. Right. You had zero idea what the people are and who you're going to be playing with. So describe your feelings kind of going into that, Tyler.
Yeah, for sure. Like I wanted to play junior hockey after high school and after the Smet, but for me that was a decision whether it was going to be here in the States or move away. And I had the opportunity with one of one of my good buddies, Luke Chase and Kelly Chase. I'm sure you all know Kelly Chase, but me and his son Luke, we went on a visit up there to Canmore towards the end of our AAA season and went up there for one weekend. We're like, wow, like this place is beautiful. It would be an amazing place to play, and ended up signing there. And so after we signed, we did the off season, and then it was finally time for us to move up there in August. And moving up there was tough. Like, I mean, I was like moving away from home to a different country. And it was at the same time, I was still learning the whole moving away from home, and just being able to do that and go up there into such a beautiful place. It was awesome. Like I was nervous at first. And once I finally got there and was accepted by everybody, and my billet family was amazing, and to have such a good place like Canmore. And I'm sure if you looked it up, you saw pictures of like what it looks like and how beautiful it is right there. So it's like, it's really hard to not enjoy your time there when you're living in a place like that, and you get to play hockey on top of it and take a little bit of a break from school. So it was, for us, it was awesome. We got to that transition at the beginning for the first couple of weeks was a little tough, but after I got in the swing of things and figured it out, it was awesome. And it was such a good part in my life, and to be able to live there and play hockey was awesome.
Yeah. I think this is when I think it gets really interesting though. So you had so your first season there, from what I saw, I did a little bit of prep before this, so I see, see some of this. Right. So it wasn't like your best year when it comes stats wise.
No.
But yeah. But your second season was pretty great. 21 goals and I think 21 assists on top of that. So what was the transition from the first and the second season? How were you able to get so far in that jump?
Yeah, and I think for most guys, it's most guys in the Alberta League play 3 years of juniors. So for me, I only played 2. So I was already a 19-year-old playing, usually as a 19-year-old rookie, right? So usually it's 18-year-old rookies, but so I kind of stepped into my second year. So I only had 2 years of eligibility. So my first year I knew like wasn't what I really wanted. Obviously, I only had 20 points, I think maybe 8 goals, but so I knew that my next year, my final year, was the year that I had to get scouted, or I had to get recruited to go somewhere to play. So I kind of didn't really have a choice but to turn it on a little bit more. So I had a big off season, and then going into the next year, I think just being an older guy on the team, I was named a captain on the team. So for me, it was just about a lot more confidence, playing with confidence, where it's like you're put in a position where you have to be kind of one of the go-to guys on the team. So you don't really have a choice. You're kind of playing for all the other guys are looking up to you now. So you have to play for yourself and for the team. So to get a scholarship and to win in the playoffs. So you didn't really have much of a choice.
Yeah. So I think briefly to give the audience a little bit of an idea of just, cause I think what's interesting too, Tyler, is that I saw 76 penalty minutes in that second year.
Yeah.
Crappy play up there. And just to give the audience a perspective of what we're dealing with. You see this?
Oh right boy! Here? Oh, did me dirty.
I did you dirty. Man. I did.
That's hilarious.
So was that your first fight?
That was my first fight. I got shelled actually. Oh yeah, it's awful. Yeah, it's funny actually because a guy I play with now, one of my good buddies, Adam Raisler. He's on the team that actually we played against that guy in that fight, and we've talked about it before. One of the older guys in their team I fought with, and he shelled me. I didn't have a fight strap on my jersey at the time, which was crazy. So I got jersey over my head, fed me a good amount of times, came off, visor cut my eye. I was bleeding. I was skating off. It was bad, but yeah, it was fun. I honestly, like, it was something I'll always remember, and it was something that it's just part of the experience, part of learning it. So yeah, it's hilarious.
It's great. That's great. Yeah. I think when also now you had the 2 years of experience in Alberta, I'm sure that gave you a ton of different experience when it comes to the hockey world and playing in Canada. I know it's totally different from being in St. Louis and playing at the Smet and AAA Blues for most of your, and also traveling alongside that. But so now you get in the road back to St. Louis, and I know, like, I was curious because I saw your journey a little bit. I was like, oh, so Tyler's coming back home. But I was curious, though, was that always kind of in the cards? Where did you end up wanting to come back home, or at least wanted to play somewhere in the States again? Or just were you sick of playing in Canmore? Like, what was kind of went into that decision?
Yeah. So towards my end of my my junior career, I was coming to the decision where figuring out where I was going to play and being recruited. And for me, I going into leaving home from St. Louis and going to Canmore, I honestly Lindenwood wasn't in much of the idea for me. I wanted to kind of maybe go see other places, live otherwhere. Like I was moving away from home to go to Canada, so I was like, oh, it'd be cool to play at a different school. But then once they started the recruiting process with me, I really realized that like, wow, this like for me, this would be a great experience. Like being able to play at home and have all my friends, family being able to be close to home and like have the easy access come watch me. I was like, this would be the perfect fit. So once they started recruiting me in the recruitment process, I was pretty pumped because I'd be like, yeah, like, after I thought more about it and how awesome it would be to be that close to home. And after spending 2 years away, I'd be like, yeah, like I've done my time traveling for a bit and going and living in different places. So I think it was super cool to be able to, for them to offer me a scholarship and to be able to come back home and be in front of my friends and family. And yeah, I think that was something that worked out good for me on my path and pretty excited about.
And you guys had some pretty daunting teams on your schedule this year.
Yeah.
If I'm seeing that correctly. You guys had Miami, Ohio, Denver, the Ohio State University,
Yeah.
Michigan State, Notre Dame, and you played Wisconsin, right? Earlier in the year. So how exciting was that for you guys? Those are top dogs in the NCAA in hockey.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like it was almost like surreal, like playing in a lot of those games. You know, you go from watching college hockey as a kid and seeing all these big time teams and all these big time facilities, and being on a team like Lindenwood and being able to play in these Big Ten schools, and because being in an independent conference, we could go to these Big Ten schools and the NCHC and playing these awesome places. It's like your first couple weekends when you're playing in it, it's like, wow, this is crazy, right? So it's like you play in all these rinks playing AAA hockey, and as a young kid, like you go to the Notre Dames and you go to these schools and play AAA hockey or minor hockey, and then when you come back, you get to play in college hockey. It's like, wow, like it's crazy. So I think definitely like coming into it as a freshman, you're like almost overwhelmed a little bit at the beginning, but then it kind of starts to feel like, wow, like this is what you've been working for, and to be able to play in these places is pretty awesome.
Yeah. And some impressive results from those teams too. And I think let's get into that a little bit. When I know your first goal or your first 2 goals of your college career was against, at the time, number 1 Denver. And so take us through that a little bit, because that, I mean, they're not the team that they were supposed to be, at least at the beginning of the season, but still, like, number 1 at the time, like that's a scary matchup, especially for you guys, and you getting the board twice. Take us through that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I went into that weekend. It was one of my maybe my 3rd weekend in the lineup, and going into that, I was on the 4th line, and I was playing almost more limited minutes. So, but going into that facility and that place, I was like, we all were like, we've got nothing to lose, right? And the guys I was playing with at the time, Mitch Allard and Brody Mortson, we were all just both like, we got nothing to lose right now. Like we're an independent school going to play a number 1 ranked team in the country, right? So it's like, what else do you have to lose, right? So we went out there, we had fun with it. Like I think that was one of the big things for us. We had fun. Like we enjoyed the moment, enjoyed the crowd, everything about it. So went out there, played hard, and we were having a good game. And then my line mate made a great play, and I just happened to be right in the slot, and he threw me a great pass and then put it in the back. And from there, I was like, holy, like this is like that was my first college goal, and to have it against that number 1 team, it was a crazy feeling. Like I was so fired up coming back to the bench. I was yelling and screaming, but it was, I think, you can hear it in like the streamcast, but it was awesome because just like to be able to do that. And then the second night was the same thing, right? And my parents actually flew out the second night. They were so mad because they missed the first game, but they didn't get to see my first goal. But then I ended up scoring again the next night against them, so they were pretty pumped about that. So it was cool to have both those goals there in Denver, and it was definitely a moment I'm not gonna forget.
And you guys ended up for I think it was in October when you played Wisconsin. They were a top 10 team in the country at the time, right?
Yeah, I think they were 8 at the time against Wisconsin.
And you guys knocked them off?
Yeah, they were. It was the first game, won the first game and lost the second one in overtime off a real bad bounce. So yeah.
I'm sure the aftermath of that was pretty unreal, though. After that first win, it must have been a
fun yeah. It was like, yeah, it definitely was, especially like that first weekend there, and yeah, it's awesome.
It's great. And then Notre Dame later as well.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
God, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, and I'd say probably the Wisconsin, the Notre Dame games. Probably, I wasn't really totally into Lindenwood hockey, but still really aren't. But when it comes to the overall program's history, like I feel like that it's probably those 2 wins are probably some of the best that they've had in the very short tenure.
Yeah, 100%. They're definitely kind of put us on the map with those wins. That's what the goal has been. So to secure those big wins and to have those moments is pretty cool. I mean, I think scoring in Notre Dame too is pretty awesome, and just to have that feeling like, wow, we're a smaller school, independent school, but being able to do these big time things is cool, is awesome.
Yeah, and you got the game winner against Notre Dame in that one. And I remember, by the way, I didn't know that happened, and I randomly saw it on my Instagram that it was just game winner, Lindenwood University gets it over Notre Dame. I'm like, what? And it happens to be this guy who I knew from high school.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, playing in a place like that it doesn't get much better than that. Between their band and their facilities and everything about it was, and to have that moment with me and a lot of my family there too was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that is cool. Where do you think your guys' ceiling as you progress at Lindenwood? How high can you guys fly, you think, by year 2, 3, 4?
Huge. I think this year we realized that we have so much potential, and we had a lot of games this year that we wish we could have gotten back. A lot of 1-goal games, a lot of third period games that we could have definitely had. So I think little things will definitely could put us in the right direction here. I think we're definitely going to be winning a lot of big hockey games within the next 2 or 3 years, and I think we're definitely going to shock a lot of people and hopefully put us on a bigger map. So I think we're definitely gonna do a lot of good things here coming up.
Yeah. So you heard it first. You have a lot more to see from Lindenwood hockey in the next few years.
Why stop now?
Yeah. Why stop?
Yeah.
I love it.
Right. For sure.
Oh, it's great. And also, so Tyler, I guess to close things out here, I know we are a blues podcast, and we loved hearing your story, but I'm curious because obviously St. Louis, born and raised here, you've been around the hockey world for so long.
Yeah.
The Blues are the center of it here in St. Louis. So, I mean, who was your kind of guy growing up that you would say you looked up to when it comes to the Blues? I know there was a lot of names, some big names up and coming.
Yeah, for me, I love Braden Shen. I thought he was always a guy I loved. I mean, obviously you guys have seen the kind of player he is. I think he's just a great leader, and he's somebody that he plays the game right. He does all the little things right, and he's somebody like obviously that the guys in the room trust. And I think for me, just watching him play, I loved the way he played growing up, and I think he was always somebody I was like, oh, that guy, he brings it every night. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've heard it, Tyler, but his name has been kind of floating around the trading block in the last couple of weeks or so. How does that make you feel?
I did see that. I saw that. I've seen all the rumors going around and everything about it. But I mean, I think he'd definitely be definitely a tough loss for the Blues. But I think he's done a lot for us. So, but hopefully they can keep him around. But we'll see. I think he'd also, hopefully, if we were to let him go, we could get something. We need something back. So
we would love a haul back.
We would
wonderful.
We would definitely need something back.
Yeah. Well, it's great. Yeah. Again, wanted to keep it short with you, Tyler, but we really appreciate you coming on and talking about your little journey here. And I know that it's been a long one, but it sounds like that there's a lot more to come.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. So, but I thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it. It was great. I'm glad I got to come on and share a little bit of everything. So thank you guys.
Yeah. Thanks, Tyler.
Good luck the rest of the way, dude. Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Mm-hmm.